Discretion is advised.
You're listening to Odyssey, A Tale from the Road, an audiobook by Christopher Cologne. All rights reserved. Any resemblance to persons living or dead are purely coincidental.
Chapter 25. As we got closer to the casino, we started to see more cars on the road and more people. We were finally getting away from the back roads and getting closer to civilization. I missed home so much, it hurt. Zack kept talking the whole trip. Mostly about himself and his highly sophisticated views on society, politics, and religion, although he stopped his recruitment speech. He liked to talk about himself. We had opened the floodgates of his monologues, and couldn't find the shut-off valve. He could have been useful, back when we were touring and had to drive all night long to the next gig. It was the job of whoever was in the passenger seat of the stink box to keep talking to the driver and keep them from falling asleep at the wheel. Zack was built for talking. He was filibustering our conversation. It was irritating, but after years of hearing Corey talking about himself, I was used to sitting quietly and letting the speaker indulge their ego. Just smile, nod your head, and say yes every time you heard your name. It was great training for dealing with a future wife. We had pulled into a shoddy gas station. It wasn't much, but we were running low on gas, and it was our only bastion of hope. At the other pump, there a ravishing biker chick filling up her hog's gas tank. Her dark auburn hair caught the sun in a way that was hypnotizing. For all her beauty, she looked like a touch scary. A tough girl, who I wouldn't want to tussle with, even though my mother taught me never to hit women. She looked like she could handle any man in a fight. I didn't see the attendant. It looked like a pay and pump kind of place anyway, so I took up a small collection from the guys and went to go pay the man in the booth. It was weird to take a collection because Layla had given all of us this money, but it was just common practice for us to compile our funds for community rations like gas. I wanted to pick up some snacks and some reading material for the road. I had read that comic book cover to cover by now, and I needed something to break up the monotony of Zack's diatribes. It looked like this place only had the local newspaper for me to read. Beggars can't be choosers, anything was acceptable. As I went to pay, Zack got out the car to pump the gas. I winced with embarrassment as he tried to pick up the biker chick. "Nice wheels," was his opening line. She stood quiet. "So, how many cc's does that thing have?" Silence. "Are you from around here?" He was using the oldest line in the book. No response. I felt sorry for Zack. You had to admire his effort, but she obviously was not in the mood to talk. It was a bit rude, but girls like that get hit on all the time, so I guess, instead of having to entertain stupid questions or give Zack any false hope, she decided to keep quiet. Maybe Zack would take the hint. He didn't. I paid for the gas, some bags of chips for the boys and a newspaper. As I turned around I saw the hot biker chick finish pumping her gas, put the nozzle back, and get on her bike. Zack started to say something to her, and was instantly cut off by the sound of her V-twin engine coming to life. I felt the vibration in my chest from that ignition. As she pulled away I could read the big embroidered patch on the back of her denim jacket. It read Satan's sirens arching over a horned skull, clutching a rose between its teeth. She was in a biker gang. I was reminded of Bruce's warning. Zack didn't see the patch. Even if he did, I don't think he would have cared. He was so furious that the biker chick had so easily shrugged off his advances that he went crazy. As she pulled away I heard Zack's yelling a little clearer. "Fuck you, you fucking dyke." She heard him. She turned her head and looked at us while she pulled on the road. She didn't stop, she just slowed down. And then she smiled. That smile meant trouble and I didn't need fortune teller to tell that. My heart sank deep into my chest, and I was feeling hopeless again. We were never going to get home. Not at this rate. Then as if on cue to add fuel to the fire a ragged homeless guy approached the car. I had seen him sitting by the station when we pulled in. He had a dirty cardboard sign and a mangy dog lying in its own filth sitting next to him. The homeless guy shuffled his way to the car and approached the increasingly angry Zack. "Hey buddy. Could you spare some change? $1? A quarter? A nickel? Anything." The homeless man said as he had rehearsed it many times before. Zack was livid. First the rejection of the biker chick and now the harassment of the homeless guy. "You want a nickel? Here, I'll give you some nickel." Zack looked like a madman. He opened the driver door and reached under his seat and pulled out a gun. He pointed it at the homeless guy. "I've got your nickel right here." Zack yelled, "It's some nice nickel plating, that I going to blast you away with. How would you like that, huh? You piece of shit. Get a fucking job. I used to be homeless, too. Now I earn my fucking money. And now I suppose to just give it away to a waste of skin, like you, just because you ask for it." The homeless guy was terrified and threw up his hands as a sign of defeat. "Look buddy, I'm not looking for any problems." And Zack shot the gun. It missed. At this close range, there was no possible way Zack could have missed. Maybe his hand was trembling with so much rage that he didn't shoot straight. Maybe Zack missed him on purpose, but he kept pulling the trigger and missing. He was doing it on purpose. Like in those old Wild West movies, Zack was making the homeless guy dance, by making him flinch from the gunshots without actually hitting him. The homeless guy's body spasmed as it made an attempt to dodge the bullets. He wanted to run, but he wasn't stupid enough to turn his back on the crazed Zack. I ran and dove into hers. For a moment I considered just driving it away without Zack, but he had a gun and could have easily blown my brains out for attempting to steal his car. I also didn't want to risk getting the guys in the backseat shot. I had to try my best and reason with him. "Zack, let's get out of here, before the owner calls the police. We can't go out like this. Please, get in the car and drive. We're in enough trouble as it is without having to deal with a murder charge." Zack thought about it for a second, still pointing his gun at the homeless guy. I could see in his face, the exact moment, he came to his senses. He dropped the gun on the ground, got in the driver's seat and sped us off down the road. Everybody was quiet, as we hauled ass down the road. Everything around the car was a blur. I wondered about the gun under his seat. It was probably from that shipment he schemed from. Did he use it just for protection? He wasn't using it for protection from the homeless guy. Zack had anger issues, no doubt. Would he had used the gun on us, if we pissed him off? That worried me. Did he have any other surprises in store for us? If he wanted us dead he could have done it a long time ago. He was getting paid to transport us. He's a mercenary. I get that. He was just fulfilling his half of the bargain. Any friendly conversation had just purely coincidental. Finally he spoke up, "Can you believe that piece of shit? Man, those types of people get on my last nerve. They think the fucking world owes them. I wish I could just sit around and ask people for money, so I don't have to work. I've been there, and I have too much pride to take handouts anymore. What I do may be dirty, but at least I'm earning my keep. I'm not a drain on anybody. Self-sufficient. Independent. I'm my own man, and nobody can take that away from me. I'm glad you're calming down. I just want to get to the casino in one piece," I said, trying to sound as conversational as possible. I was trying to mask the fact that my adrenaline had been pumping, and my heart was racing. I didn't want to make a bad situation worse. Zack wasn't in the mood to let it go. He ignored my last comment and was getting angrier, and could you believe that dyke on the bike? Fucking man-hater. That's all they are. They go muff diving, because, in the back of their minds, they think they are hurting some man that did them wrong in the past, by banging another woman. It's not my fault. I've never done anything to drive a woman into the arms of another woman. I'm not that uncle that touched you when you were 9 years old, and I'm not the boyfriend that fucked your sister, because she was easy, too. The worst ones are the dykes that take up with other women that look, dress, and act like men. If you like a woman, that for all intents and purposes is a man, then you're not a lesbian. You're just a confused cunt that hates men. Just then, the hearse crested a ridge on the road. Further down the blacktop I saw, what was easily, 30 women riding on motorcycles. Since we were behind them I could see that all of them had been wearing the same gang patch, or as the gangs call it colors, of our auburn-haired friend back at the gas station. Zack was heading right for them. Did he see that they were a gang? Did he care? Was he so furious that maybe he wanted to run someone off the road? Or was he looking for revenge against getting spurned? I don't know, but he was getting dangerously close to their bikes. Our auburn-haired friend had been in the part of the back row of this caravan. She turned and saw the hearse behind her and started to repeatedly honk her horn. The other women turned and looked in her direction. Without saying a word, she had made some hand signals, and a moment later, All the girls had circled their bikes around the hearse. We were still moving at the road's speed limit. From an outsider's point of view, it might have looked like some sort of bizarre presidential cavalcade. A tricked-out hearse being escorted by some badass biker chicks. I'm sure it looked like something out of a post-apocalyptic road warrior movie. Zach didn't know how to react. The bikers were regulating our pace. Any faster and we would hit the girls in front of us. The same thing goes for if we slowed down or tried to veer left or right. We were trapped in a moving cage made of flesh and steel. They made themselves human shields.
Please visit twostrangersonePodcast.net.